This is the evening of Saturday, December 9th, maybe. Anyways, here we go. Here's my Poulan Pro 4620 AVHD. And you can see that this is jury-rigged, and we'll explain what happened. So this chainsaw is probably, I'm going to say 30 years old, bought it a long time ago, and didn't work very well for a while, and I took it to, I won't say the name of the place, but they're out of business now, but I took it there. The guy said, yeah, this is a cheap thing, but whatever, I'll have the guy look at it. And whoever looked at it drilled out these little caps for low and high on the carburetor and tuned it, and the thing purred like not like a kitten, like a tiger. It was awesome. It never had any power, wouldn't cut anything, and then it was awesome. And then I learned how to adjust it myself after that, since the caps are drilled out. Some online tutorials. How to get a spark RPM meter and stuff like that. But yeah, so this has been like my workhorse chainsaw, only chainsaw for 30 years, and I used it on the chainsaw sawmill. But then, just because plastic gets old, the piece here cracked. So when I'd pull this, I'll show you over here. This is the piece that broke. It broke off. So every time you pull, this would wobble, and then the cord would get stuck, and you'd have to take it all apart and reset the spring and blah blah blah. Getting to the point. So I tried to buy a new one of these housings, but since it's 30 years old, they don't sell them from the manufacturer anymore. So I went ahead and like 6 iterations of trying to reinforce this thing. Had to put a different bolt and a sleeve and a shim, and it worked a couple times, but I think the cord is, you can kind of see the cord is not where it belongs inside anymore. I pulled it a few times, it ran, and then it got stuck. So I haven't used it probably almost a year now. One day online, I just, for the shits and giggles, typed in the part number, and it said that they could get me one, like some distributor had it or whatever. I think it came from China, because it took, I don't know, like 3 months to get here. I figured it wouldn't get here, like it'd get canceled like it did previously, but it actually did eventually show up. So I have the new housing. I have a bunch of old pieces, and I have I bought new pieces to put in here. So I'm gonna have to take this off, take the new pieces out of here, rewind the spring, like this has to get rewound. It's kind of a pain in the ass. You have to wind the spring and then zip tie it, and then you have to wiggle and jimmy it in here and drop and clip, and then it takes like 5 times to get it to where it doesn't go boing. So that's kind of why I have been resistant to just fixing this. So now that it's a winter project and the nights are dark and I can work in the basement, that's what we're going to work on. So there's the thought that came in. I guess this doesn't work, so it doesn't do any good to keep it like this. But I was thinking maybe I would buy all new pieces, one of these, a new clutch piece and a spring, and reset this whole thing, and then I'd have a brand new one. I could just pop that in and take that one off, and I'd have a good, and I could just pop this one off and leave it intact. But I guess it's not really functional, so there's no sense doing that. Yeah, so I think after dinner we're going to take this off and have to rewind the spring, and then see if we can pull the guts back together, and then maybe tomorrow, I don't know if I'll get it all together tonight, but then we'll give it a try and see if it kicks over. Probably will. The issue is, if the issue hasn't been that it kicks over, I can eventually get it to start. I have that puller that I use with the cordless screwdriver, so I don't have to pull my arm out of my socket pulling it so many times. So it'll eventually start. I can get it to start, but the problem is that the coil thing, and I don't know why, maybe it's the wrong rope or something, but it always jumps. It gets on the outside like that. So then when it winds up, the cord gets jammed in here. Yeah, so that was the issue. So we'll see if this fixes it. So that one didn't work. I bought this Echo CS3510, like 5.5 pounds. I went for a 16-inch bar, a very lightweight chainsaw. So that's been my workhorse chainsaw since that one didn't work. And the reason I went with that 16-inch bar and a 5-pound power head, this thing I think like weighs like 15 pounds maybe. You know, it has a nice, nice long bar for cutting big stuff, but if I'm just like trimming limbs off of trees, like I don't have that big of trees to work on, then that's just like I can't lift that thing 15 pounds all day long. I mean, maybe get an hour, my arms are shaking. It's great if you're just bucking wood, because then the weight of the saw helps the cut. It has a nice long bar, but if I have to be turning it, sideways and holding it up, and I can't do that anymore. So that's why I went with a very light, smaller chainsaw to do all that. And my plan was to get this fixed eventually. So when I'm cutting bigger stuff or bucking wood, then I can use this one. I can probably get away with my other new chainsaw for most everything I need to do, except bigger stuff and bucking, which this is nice for. But the other reason I want it fixed is that I'd like to have two chainsaws, right? Like when you're out working and all of a sudden something unexpected happens, you get a chainsaw stuck in the tree, right? It binds on it, instead of sitting there trying to yank it and bending it and pulling the chain out, I just like to be able to fire up my second chainsaw and make the necessary relief cuts to easily and safely extricate my other chainsaw. So I feel that it's worth the effort to fix this, even though it's 30 plus years old. Has a lot of memories for me. My first chainsaw, learned all about adjusting carbs on it and doing a tune-up, and learned how to file a chain. Yeah, I use this chainsaw on my Norwood chainsaw sawmill, and it cut pretty good the first few times, and then I hit a nail in a tree and the teeth got messed up, so I took it somewhere, and I won't mention where, to have it professionally sharpened, right? Well, that was like a disaster. They ground, the teeth are all different sizes all over the place, so it's like cutting at a severe slant, which doesn't work when you're in a sawmill. It's got to cut like perfectly straight. It can't, because then it starts to bind, which was what was happening. It was because some of the teeth length are longer than others on one side, so then that's what's causing it. So then I had to learn how to sharpen the chain by myself, which wasn't hard, but I had to watch some videos and practice. So now I sharpen my own chains so that I know they will cut true. So those are all the things I learned with this chainsaw. So I'm not ready to let it go yet. All right, upon further review, these don't look in that bad a shape. This is worn a bit, but not much more than this brand new one is worn. So I'm thinking I'm going to leave this one intact, because that's really what my gut feeling is. Leave that one intact, and I'm going to recoil this and put it together with these pieces and see what we got. That's the plan. Alright, so we've got to rewind this spring till it's small enough to fit inside there. So yeah, a bit to go. So I've rewound this spring and the other one for this probably 6-7 times, just because I keep making a mistake. So this is what I came up with. I nail it down so it doesn't move here. I put these 2 nails to hold it, and then this one will catch. This keeps it flat, and now I'm just going to keep winding it up. Alright, dinner's over. Let's continue. No, 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 don't do that. Don't do that. No, 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 no. Alright, back to where it was supposed to be. Alright, so we got it wound up. It's about the right diameter to fit in there. Now we gotta secure it so it doesn't go boing. And there we go, we got zip ties. And now we're going to remove the nails, and it should stay. We're going to pop it in the housing. Alright, so what we see is that I got this piece in here, but this doesn't sit flat because it's too tight. I need to open that up a bit. Well, that was, I had this clamp holding it down so when I cut the zip ties it wouldn't flip out. Let's have a look. Right, so I got this C-clamp holding that in there because that usually pops out. I had a big C-clamp holding this down so when I cut the zip tie and start tying coil it didn't spring out. So it looks like it's kind of in there. Next is to get these other pieces in there. So let's see what happens. I'm not taking it apart to show you, but I got this piece in. And now I think this goes in. And there's a hole that has to go. That's in that. And there's a screw that goes in there to hold it in. Let's see how it goes. And we put that shoulder washer in. It's kind of a sloppy mess. But seems like there's a little play in there. But it seems like it's down. Alright. Next thing we do, I think, is we've got to wind this up. So let's read the directions. So we got the shoulder bolt in there. This is the way it goes, but this part seems like it's snug down so the spring won't pop out. We don't, the handle's over on that one. So we'll get another handle. For now I put a piece of board. And it looks like it's going to work. Alright, so tomorrow I think we'll get stop at like Hector's and get a handle. And then we will put it back on here and see if we can get her to fire up.